What's going on, good people? First time we done went live on our Down to Spirit page, but we in here to discuss. Well, you tuned in with the Down to Spirit podcast. My bad. You tuned in with the one and only Sound Off the General, who got the blue shirt on up there, and then you got me, Mental Coach Kev, and we here for the Down to Spirit conversational podcast where we just kind of talk about spiritual things, life things of that sort. And today, what topic are we on today? Today we're talking about something pretty interesting here, which is what happens when we die. And I just had a subtitle of embracing growth and change because we're trying to figure out a topic to talk about. But really, we just get on here, first off for us and for everybody that might get something out of the message that we might speak about. But as a lot of you know, or some of you that might tune in, we actually ask each other, are we really, how would I put it? We forward on being concerned with and paying attention to and working on your mental health, as well as understanding, other people's, plight or what they might be going through mentally and being there for them and kind of asking, hey, how's your mental health going? So we start off doing that with each other and sound off. How's your mental health doing today, man? How's your day? How's your mental health? How's everything going?
Doing good, doing good. Man, I'm on finna be on a little break from my job for about a week, so
Oh, okay.
little vacation. So
Well, damn. All right, dude,
much
getting a
much
break.
needed, much needed.
Dude, getting a
Yeah, much
break,
needed.
man. Look at dude, think he all that, man, getting a break, man, getting a weekly break. A week break. Already, that's what's up, man. So you say mental space as well? How's that?
Yeah, pretty good, man. Ain't doing pretty well. I'm in a better energy, better place. Feeling good right now. How about yourself?
Man, I'm doing good, man. With life, we have, the times that we have our up and downs, man. Where we might be up and down emotionally, man. Anything can come up and pop off because, with life, man, you can't completely control what's going on and anything can happen at any time. Whether it's losing part of your sanity or losing a friend or loved one, you know what I'm saying? So, or losing money or anything. But today, man, I actually took the time to actually go over my gratitude list. I heard it from Steve Harvey. He mentioned, he ain't got no other explanation of his success other than, right now a list of what he's grateful for. Everything from, hey, I got something to eat today and I got an idea of what I might eat tomorrow, I'll be able to eat tomorrow, or, my limbs working or being able to walk, etc. So I did my gratitude list, man. Then he said do a want list too, like do write a list of things that you actually want to have in life or want to have happen. And he said keep going over that gratitude list every day, every morning. And he said before you know it, those things off of that want list will actually make it over to that grateful for list. That's what he called it, grateful for list. So I did that today. I did a manifestation process of what I did before when I needed to manifest a singer for my album, and it happened in the manifestation kind of came across within the next couple hours or so. But I went into feeling space of what I wanted, explaining that time that happened prior with the singer. I went into the mental space of what I wanted, the relief of knowing that it was done, and then I just immediately went into meditation so I can distract my mind from thinking like, man, it ain't done yet. You in the fantasy world, you're visualizing, this ain't physical. As a distraction, I went into meditation, and then when I came out of meditation and checked my phone, I had a message from a singer, which wasn't even intended for me, and she ended up doing the song for me, the singing on that song for me. And what's crazy, she hit me up yesterday randomly, mentioning speaking at I think to some of her students. But yeah, so I went back into the space of that because I'm like, man, what did I do to manifest that? Let me go back to that type of energy. So I ended up doing that today on something, and some things shifted. Yeah, did my anxiety stress relief meditation um audio where you can get for free on mentalcoachkev.com. So I did that and just been optimistic about today, man. Some number of cool things been happening. I ended up getting a free lotto ticket off of online through an email and just interesting things, man. So I'm in a good space, man. I'm optimistic. Optimistic. But yeah, let's get into this topic for today, man. I don't know if we get anybody tuned in yet on here, but hey, people tune in whenever they tune in. So
Yes, sir.
I've been doing doing a lot of talking here, so let's see SoundOff's point of view on what you think happens after we die. What you think about
Okay, so to do one of your numbers, I've been watching outer body experiences
and
and near death experiences,
uh-huh.
and so one of the things that is common in all of their stories is that what we think heaven and hell is not really what heaven and hell is. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? Heaven and hell is more an earthly realm, more of an earthly situation. When you pass away from their accounts, you get sucked back into unconditional love. And there's no as the one guy said, it's not judgment in the sense of like from God, it's judgment in the sense of, oh, I made this person feel this way, or I made this person think this way, or I
Hmm.
made this person, you know, do whatever, and I could have done better. And that's what one of the guys had an out of body experience was expressing, like that is the unforgivable sin, is things that you can't fix on the other side.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. It's people. If you don't know, I watch a lot of near death experiences, and they fascinate me because uh, people have a lot of similarities in them. And what you mentioned about the life, I don't know if you mentioned a life review.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
life
yeah.
review is
So
brought up.
it's a life review that a lot of people mention happens, and it could be, um, how would I put it? You can compare it to how some people say, "Oh yeah, my life flashed before my eyes," or "I seen my life," or whatever, in this particular time where you had a experience of dying, or etc. But they have a lot of similarities with them, which they mentioned having that life review and how they are able to get an account of how they made other people feel and actually step into the people's shoes of how they affected them. So the people that they did wrong, they feel that, that emotion and negative feeling of how they made the person feel, or the people that they made feel good or did something good for. So, and then a lot of those folks, man, it's like the people that they done wrong, man, it's like by stepping into the shoes and the feeling space of how the person felt, it causes them to change themselves. Because it's like, man, if that's how it feels to be done like that, I don't want to do that to anybody else. Right. So people
Right,
who have these near death experiences always come back as a newer version of themselves, as a more loving version of themselves. And a lot
right,
of them mention love and experiencing God in a way to where it's the optimal idea of love to where it's far bigger than what you can even experience, here in this physical body, which I noticed that similarity with a lot of different other religions and those particular ideas. But I was doing some notes today, man, and as I was doing these notes,
okay.
go ahead. You say something?
Nah, I said okay.
Okay. Yeah, so with these notes, man, I ran across a number of different ideas and things that I experienced or looked over back in the day. And some of the stuff was, or one of the things in particular was this young man that was on the Oprah show, and he experienced how he was a kid and he was talking about how he was having these visions and stuff about war stories and sharing this stuff with his parents, and his parents was tripping like, what's going on? And he mentioning all these different experiences and people, and they started doing some research and come to find out they end up linking them with some particular military group from back in the day. I think it was some sort of flight pilots or something, and they end up losing one of the people in their group. And the kid was sharing the stories from the perspective of that gentleman. So in that particular case, it's like, all right, is reincarnation really a thing? But then
Yeah.
in Christianity, they talk about reincarnation, but it's in reference to it was a number of different people in the Bible, huh? I know it was Jesus. Who was the other person? Biblical guy. Who was that?
Hold on. As well, see, you're speaking news to me because like um I've never heard Christianity express reincarnation.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Because it's like once you die, it's final.
Yeah.
Which there is truth to that. You know what I mean? This expression of who you are is final. It's that's done.
Hmm.
But I'm sorry, I'm finna go on a whole nother, whole
Hey,
nother
we here to
route.
talk. How we
All
do.
right.
We just chop it
So,
up. So,
like I think one of the commonalities that people have said in outer body experience and near death experiences is that when you get to the other side, you find out the truth of who you really are,
uh-huh.
and that you are a divine being, eternal, that you can that has never been created or destroyed, that can't be destroyed. You're the same thing of source, the same thing of God. You
Hmm.
are God's child. You realize that God's love for you is unconditional, and there's nothing that you could have ever done to separate you. And so, like, it's interesting in the Bible, it does teach nothing can separate you from the love of Christ. You know what I'm saying? In that sense, they're talking about Jesus, but you know what I'm saying? Like, the concept is there. Like, when you transition, when you pass on, you know what I mean? There's nothing that separates you from that love.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like you think about it. Your son may be half across the way in the world, but it's still your son.
Yeah.
You still love him. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
And I say reincarnation, I guess, but with reincarnation, I guess you die and then come back into a new body. So
right,
in
right,
reference
new
to,
person.
yeah, in reference to Jesus, then he came back into his same body, right?
It's in the concept of Jesus, it's God incarnating into a human body,
Uh-huh.
limiting itself. And oh, that is so powerful because like when I was studying Kemetic spirituality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus was the prototype of the picture of what happens when we come from the other side into this body.
Yeah, okay.
Like we're cut off from, let's say, our powers. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
we're cut off from, like, we're still divine, we're still God's children, but we're cut off from the sense of remembering who we really are.
Mm. Yeah, you went out for
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I got you.
But yeah, so with after from according to some religions, I guess they some of them have similarities on what they believe happens when we die, and some of them have little different things that they believe. In Christianity, they believe in heaven and hell. Some believe in purgatory. And resurrection, I guess, was the actual word that I was looking for. I guess instead of reincarnation, I got them kind of
Yeah,
confused in that
yeah.
moment. So what I guess happened to Jesus was a resurrection thing. So was it Lazarus or one of them guys that ended up having a
Yeah, that
reincarnated
passed on, and
and
yep, and
came
God
on
brought him
light
back. Yeah.
supposedly according to
Well,
the
not
Bible?
reincarnated, resurrected.
Yeah, yeah, resurrected.
Yeah,
Okay.
resurrected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they say in Islam, I guess they believe in, a day of judgment and I guess souls are resting in this particular space. I don't know how you pronounce the word, but it starts with a B. And they might reside there into judgment. And they believe, I guess, in heaven and hell. And heaven is like Jannah or something, and hell is like another J word I can't think of. But then Hinduism was pretty interesting too because they had a strong belief in or have a strong belief in reincarnation, which I feel like is what happens. I'm like, man,
Right.
we reincarnate. I just believe that because of the particular therapy that I do. So if people don't know, I do hypnotherapy, and with hypnotherapy, we can do this thing called regression, where we can actually regress a person back to earlier childhood. Now, to some people, this might seem crazy or weird or far fetched, and to a lot of people, it might sound interesting, which is how it sounded to me. So imagine being able to take a person into a hypnotic state and then be able to help guide them into re-experiencing their childhood or childhood events or their first time walking. For instance, I ended up regressing my cousin. My cousin was like, "Man, I want to experience hypnosis and see how it works." And I was like, "All right, cool. What do you want to experience?" And he was like, "Man, he just wanted to see what it was like." So I took him in a state, and I took him to his first time walking, which was pretty cool. And he explained his walking process. And I mentioned this on a earlier episode, but What's interesting about that experience, man, he talked about where he was, how the kitchen looked, seeing his mom, what she had on, seeing the person that was with his mom. And then when I brought him out of the state, he ended up going to ask his mom about it. And he was like, "Hey, mom, you know, do you remember my first time walking?" And she explained it like he remembered it, on down to her shoes that she wore, because she had it was a particular style of shoe that she liked to wear it in a particular color, and everything
Mm.
lined up. So we're able to take a person to early childhood or earlier points in life as well as previous lives, right? So when I started exploring that, man, that was interesting because it's like I might regress a person in the 1700s, a different race, or all type of stuff, man. And it was this one particular gentleman that I work with, and this is how some of this stuff can be effective, man. Like having these other experiences, or having a hypnotic experience or regression experience to be able to see that you more than just what you are in this physical body. Because this one gentleman, he was the guy. Just how would I put it? He only enjoyed his race and no other races, and the other races he just had a disdain for. But I ended up regressing him, man, a number of different times, and he was all type of different races, man, and different genders, right? So then when he got out, he was like, man, he got a new state of awareness. He was like, man, how can I hate on, those other races when I have been them before, right? So I
Yep.
understand some people might look
Right.
at a hypnotic experience of regression and be like, man, that could just be a person's mind. But if you would see these people explain these stories, you hear their voice texture change, you hear them talking about what they doing in their so-called life at this moment. And that's what makes me believe that, in some people perspectives, they believe that past, present, and future happens at the same time, right? Um,
Right.
and I know that might be hard for some people to believe, but maybe it's something that you can research and look up and then get your new mind frame, or different, frame of mind on. But idea of past, present, and future happening at the same time, it makes more sense with me having a person in a chair working with them hypnotically, got them regress to an earlier year or whatever, different life, and they explaining everything like they're having that particular day of life
Right
at
now.
the same time right now, which is pretty interesting,
Yeah.
you know. And then sometimes you can help solve something in the person's past life, and then it resolves the issue in their present life, right? Or sometimes a person has, let's just say, oh man, I got this weird birthmark, and this birthmark area is this pain that happens, and I don't know what it's for. It's a chronic pain that they can't find no solution for. But then you put them in hypnotic state and ask their unconscious mind to regress them back to, the cause of that. And they might be in a past life where they was in war and, stabbed with a sword or something like that in that same area. Interesting.
Mm.
So from my perspective now, man, what I believe happens when we die, is a lot different than what it was before. Because before I did have this fear of
Yeah.
heaven and hell, and like, or hell, not heaven, because
Yeah.
that's
Same
where
here.
everybody want to go. But the
Yeah.
fear of hell, like, man,
Yeah.
I don't want to, mess up, man, and forget to repent or whatever the case may be, and then end up burning forever. And then
Yeah.
then it's over with for me. You know what I'm saying? It's just over with. I didn't ruin my life, and it's the only life we have. And I used to have an issue with thinking about, man, like, what happens to our loved ones, man? Like, am I gonna see my loved ones again? Like, am I gonna see my favorite people, my wife, my kids, parents or whoever, again? And the idea that I might not recognize them, or they might go some different place to me, man. It just seemed I don't know, man. It seemed uncomfortable to me, man. It just put me in a fearful space. But now that I had these a lot of experiences of regressing people to different lives, seeing people talk about how they have lived here before and explaining their situation and experience of a different life, and then people going to research it and find out that that stuff actually occurred. Where did they get the information from, right? Some people have even been regressed to past lives and speak a different language, right? I regressed a gentleman, and he was extraterrestrial, for instance, and explaining what his day job was, so to speak, what he was doing at that moment, that aircraft he was flying in, all the gadgets and the screens that was up there, and his purpose. Man, interesting stuff. And I know some people, man, in the
Yeah.
religious world, uh, particularly Christianity, they hear stuff like this and then start getting spooked and start going like, okay, man, that's stuff of the devil. You know what I
You
mean?
never.
You
Yeah.
feel me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
But
mean, yeah.
a lot more people, man, are, have these, similar questions, man, and worries. I have spoke with, man, pastors before when I had the recording studio going on. I remember speaking with a particular pastor, and I started talking about a lot of this stuff, man, like, astral projection, hypnotic regression, past lives, all this stuff. And he was in tune with it and knew a lot about it. And I was like, man, okay, so if that's your belief system, how, and then you are a pastor that's preaching, Christianity, how does that work for you? You know what I'm saying? He was like, well, I just don't reveal that to my congregation because I'll lose them. And that was a confusing moment for me too, because I'm like, I could tell from, the perspective of, my perspective of some of the things that I believe that happen when we die and experiencing this stuff with, past lives and all these different things, that it changed me. And that's what, what formulated my new belief system. And then his was in alignment with that. But he still was, preaching the word of God in the way that he did. Interesting.
Yeah. It is interesting. So I know, like, for a lot of people, it's hard to put yourself out there
Hmm.
because, especially in that community of people, that belief system, you get crucified for preaching anything outside of Jesus and anything outside of heaven and hell.
Yep.
But I mean, for me, and I think about myself, I don't go out my way to try to share knowledge and information. You know what I mean? I felt like they say, um, when the student is ready for the master, you know what I'm saying? The master will appear. You
Uh-huh.
know what I'm saying? Or the teacher appears. So I look at it in the same sense of when it comes to conversing with people, when it comes to these type of topics. If somebody pops up and they want to know something, then I'm all open to have that conversation with them. But what I'm not gonna do, and I'm not gonna go to somebody that's a diehard, you know what I'm saying, believer and try to convince them, hey man, you need to go ahead and realize, man, we eternal. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't gonna do that because you ain't gonna win. You ain't gonna win.
Exactly.
You ain't gonna win. So many times in my life, I've had people that have tried to kind of bully me into believing their thought preference and their
Yeah.
belief system, and I didn't like that. You know what I mean? So
Nah.
I just do the opposite. You know what I mean? Like, I
Definitely.
allow myself to be an example of what I believe and what I think, and eventually they'll catch on if they meant to catch on. But the thing is, like, we're not meant to save anybody.
Hmm.
That ain't our role. You know what I'm saying? Me and my friend were talking recently, and we were just like, sometimes people have lessons that they're trying to learn, and although it may not make sense to you, why they keep bumping their head and going through what they're going through is something that their soul wants to experience and to learn.
Oh
And
yeah.
while they were on this mission, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I say mission like this existence, you know what I mean? So I came down as Marcus. So there was a reason why Marcus had to keep bumping his head to
Mhm.
learn different lessons because it was something me as a soul wanted to experience,
Yeah.
wanted to learn. Like, it's one thing to have intellectual knowledge, but it's another thing to have experiential knowledge. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? By being experiencing that. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah, man, it's powerful. It's powerful. But in my position, I don't know if I could be in a pulpit.
You in a pulpit.
Yeah, that's why I walked away. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm not big on, what I mean, trying to be something that I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I got to the place now where I just want to be me and
Exactly.
be free. You know what I mean? And
Uh,
like, I couldn't be preaching hell and fire and brimstone, and that's not what I believe.
yep. See, and
No knock against him.
yeah, and what you kind of mentioned earlier about people trying to force their belief system on you and their beliefs on you is just unfortunate. Or trying to explain or give something to somebody that will never get it or ain't trying to see it. Trying to
Right.
explain the idea of, let's just say, hypnosis or something to a diehard, Christian believer. They might not, be trying to hear that or understand it or even be equipped to even understand the idea of it. Which somebody mentioned this earlier on something I watched. They said, trying to do that is kind of like trying to explain the color blue to a blind person, for instance. So
Right.
the
Yeah,
person
that's
just they
hard.
they can't see that idea frame of mind. It's not within them to actually see that. So by them not being able to see it, you'll be turn blue in the face trying to explain it to them, right?
Right.
Because you'll never be
Right.
successful with it, until that person maybe gets to the point to where they will come to be woke or have be able to see and have vision, and then they can maybe get a new perspective and be willing to take in a new perspective first off. And that's what growth is being open to hearing other ideas or opinions or whatever, not saying that you're going to take it to be your truth, but at least uh entertaining the idea of it. And that's what it is with science and a lot of things with education and in life. It's like being able to or being open enough to understand or listen to different points of views or perspectives, causes you to grow because you might find something in that perspective that you didn't think of that makes sense for you. And then you can adopt it into your belief system. And then now you get something added to it. You know what I mean? You get something different there, you know?
Right.
So, interesting, man. I was looking up, the Big Bang Theory the other day, and the
Uh-huh.
guy,
Yeah.
and the guy who I guess developed it, which was a priest, and he was an astronomer as well. He was a
Yep.
Catholic priest and an astronomer and a scientist, right? Because I heard
Yep.
somebody having a
Yep.
debate the other day between like science and Christianity
Religion.
and religion. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they was kind of going back and forth
Yep.
on that. And then somebody did bring up the Big Bang Theory, and it was like, well, Holmes was a priest. You know what I'm saying? Holmes was an astronomer or whatever in astronomy and a scientist. Interesting. He had that combination, and he's the one who came up with that theory, which I hear some people in the metaphysical world, or spiritual world kind of explain their perspective of, what the Big Bang may have been. Um, but
Right.
man, I guess we technically don't know when what might happen when we die. But like I say, according to these near-death experiences that I be watching, man, and this stuff with regression, man, this put me in a space of thinking that it's going to be a lot different than what people expect. Some of it will
Right.
be, something that you expect because they say that from some people perspectives, they say that you are greeted on that other side with loved ones or spiritual. How would I put this? I'm just
Beings.
entities or
Yeah.
beings. Yeah. I know you say entity. Sometimes people might look at it as a negative word. Spiritual beings that might actually come to help acclimate them to the actual spiritual realm or space. Because, you might be discombobulated or coming from this crazy physical life and you got to get back, acclimated into the spiritual world. Because they say that, energy is what is not destroyed, right? So the soul, the spirit that we might
Yeah.
have, is going to pass on, past this physical body, which I look at the physical body like a vehicle. It's like, man, I had this particular mountain, well, not mountaineer, but whatever car I had before, Taurus, and then the Taurus got old or whatever, got rid of the Taurus, got me a newer car. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm jumping into that vehicle.
Yeah.
Then I got rid of that Taurus, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna got me a Mercedes now. Went into that Mercedes, then get rid of the Mercedes, whatever. So it's like that car could be, what I'm saying, equated to like a physical body, but then the person that's in the car is like the person's, what you call it, spirit or soul. I get spirit and soul confused sometimes. But yeah,
Yeah. The spirit and soul are interchangeable. You know what
uh,
I'm saying? Or like, because it's like we are a soul. God is a spirit.
uh
God is, you know what I'm saying? We're the same entity. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
we're one and the same. It's just God or how we think or know God. We don't understand what it is. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
He or she or whatever, God is. We don't understand what it is. You know what I'm saying? So
hmm
like, but I think, in some respects, that's the whole, thing about life is not knowing. You know what I mean? That's a part
yeah.
of this,
We ain't gonna know everything.
yeah, because comedic spirituality, it taught me, you know what I mean? Like it's a game.
hmm
Like the soul is here on an adventure, having fun. You know what I mean? It
Uh-huh.
may not feel like fun to us because we don't have no prior knowledge of, oh man, I was a soul, I was a, what I'm saying, a divine being. You don't have that knowledge, so you're thinking like, okay, I'm just going through and there ain't no purpose or ain't no
Uh-huh.
reason for all I'm going through and all this other stuff. But when you take back that this body is not you, it's part of you,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not you.
Mm-mm.
One thing was funny. I had a friend. She would say it's an avatar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
this body is an avatar. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's a temporary vessel.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bible speaks on that as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's a temporary vessel. And another thing, what people they struggle with experiencing or believing that they are God. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Not big case, but lower case.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like an ocean. You know what I'm saying? If you take a cup of water or a drop of rain or water from the ocean, they all the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's all comes from one source. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why we say source. You know what I mean? In the woke community, we say source. It's all the same thing. We're a droplet of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
We're a droplet of God. So
That's what they
yeah.
showed on what's the name of that TV show, White Lotus, the new season or whatever. And they had a little segment on there where they mentioned that like it was actually one of the it was in, I guess that particular season was based in Thailand, and it was a monk that was there. So this guy was asking them, about life and stuff, but the monk had said it in a cool way, like basically, the entire consciousness, what you consider maybe God to be, and everything to be, which God embodies everything, can be equated to the ocean, so to speak. But then as we have our individual physical life, we come out of the ocean into being like a little droplet, that might be in the air at the time, whatever. And then as it, kind of descends and goes back down and gets back into the ocean or whatever, then it goes back into being part of everything again, so to speak. And that particular idea of things. Let's see. I want to mention some other stuff here too. Okay, so in reference to the near death experiences, some people who actually reported on it, and a number of different people reported on, you can go to YouTube and just type NDE in, or near death experience in, and you will see a lot of people talking about the experience. But this is what I found to be in common, which some people mention feeling the floating outside of the body, seeing the bright light, or being guided by presence, a life review, seeing key moments of their life kind of like in a flash. And they talk about, and time is so different there, to where you can feel like you didn't had a whole life, but it was only 5 minutes in the physical world, so to speak. Let's see, overwhelming sense of peace, love, and oneness. Some, talk about, deceased loved ones or spiritual guides that they kind of connect with there. A number of different things, man. And I would highly suggest for, anybody watching this, man, if you want to expand your mind or point of view in reference to what happens when we die, go and watch some near death experiences. There's even some movies on it in the Christian space. I can't think of one of the movies. It involved a kid
Heaven
or
is for
whatever.
real. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
Heaven is.
I know a kid ended up passing away or having some experience, and he was talking about floating around in a hospital and seeing his dad in the, whatever they call that little area that be in a hospital that's actually like the little religious area, chapel, whatever it is.
Yeah,
Um,
chap.
okay, so he was there, and his dad, he said his dad was there, just kind of throwing things around and kind of screaming at God, and then his mom was in the waiting room. I guess talking to somebody, explaining what was going on, and the kid talked about seeing all of that, right? The kid talked about seeing God, seeing Jesus, interesting stuff, man. And a lot of people wrote it off as crazy. And then his dad didn't really, it took him a while to kind of start believing it. But the kid even mentioned seeing, I guess, one of the mom and dad's kids that had ended up passing. I don't know if it was something that happened in the womb, or some sort of stillbirth or whatever it was, that the kid shouldn't have even known about. And the kid mentioned meeting his sister or whatever. Crazy stuff. And they end up telling the story, I think, in church finally. And I think all type of news people came and all that, and a lot of people came to the church to kind of hear about things. But I'm like, I don't see how we can discredit a lot of this stuff that happens. A lot of these reincarnation stories, and it's interesting to me. Oprah was doing a lot of, she was interviewing a lot of people who had reincarnation stories back in the day that might have talked about, being some other being like the kid I mentioned to you. It was a Tyler. Let's see, his name was James. He had vivid memories of being a World War II fighter pilot, and they ended up reuniting him with the group. Uh, man, all type of stuff, man. So I would suggest, y'all look some of that stuff up and then kind of see, and it might, some of the things that you come across might give you a better, more comfort of, knowing what might kind of happen when we die. And don't get me wrong, people who are in a religious space, by you being in your faith, if you're in it to a particular level, then that's going to give you some sort of strength and assurance, comfort, and feeling like when you pass, where you gonna go and what's gonna happen to you. But I will say,
Yeah.
a lot of it that some people think is gonna be different than that, possibly.
Right,
Gonna be
right.
different than that.
And I think, like you said, um, like sometimes we get fearful of getting old because we know that we're closer to passing and transition. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Hmm.
But if we realize that all we all are, every human, every person in existence, every entity, every being, is nothing but conditional love.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's all comes from source. You know what I mean? It all comes from God. So it's just like we say in church, God is everywhere at the same time. How could God be everywhere at the same time if God was not everything?
Yeah. Unless some people just
And
have the
everyone. Yeah.
bird's eye view of, seeing everything and being able to be. I don't know. But I'm with you. I feel like God is a part of everything. And some people might have the argument of everything might include evil. What about that? What do you say to somebody to say,
There's light. Remember in the beginning of Genesis when Adam and Eve ate the fruit
mm-hmm,
and God said, now they're like us because they have knowledge of both good and evil.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like, think
yeah,
about that for a minute. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, where did it come from? Like,
mm,
see the principle from Kemetic spirituality is duality. You know
mm,
what I'm saying? If they're in this time in existence on the earth plane, there it has to be light, there has to be darkness,
mm-hmm,
good, evil. You know what I'm saying? Like there
yeah,
has to be a contrast.
yeah. You have to have that.
Happiness, sorrow,
Yep,
or happiness, sadness,
yep,
joy, sorrow. Like there is a opposite, different end of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah.
here's the thing. If you look at the Christian Bible, Old Testament God didn't play.
Hmm. Somebody was just
Hey,
talking about that, man. It was like
hey,
telling people to kill folks, to
kill,
all type of.
kill their whole village. Don't
Exactly. Yeah.
don't hey, don't take none of their stuff. Burn it all. Kids, children, animals, don't
Yeah.
all of it.
Hmm.
Now, the average person would say that's evil.
Hmm.
How can you kill other kids that have nothing to do with it? How can you kill women that have nothing to do with it?
Hmm.
What about the men that had nothing to do with it? But in the same sense, when you're God, who can tell you wrong?
Yeah. See, that's the thing, man. And back to what you said about, I guess the duality and good and bad or happiness and this or whatever. Without having that contrast, then you wouldn't know the other thing. So it's like without sadness, how would we know happiness, right? If we just sit in the
Exactly.
state of happiness all day, then it's like, okay, what can we compare it to, what can we contrast it to, right? Against, by having bad times in life, then it causes you to appreciate what the good times. Lord, I thank you for waking up today. You know what I'm saying? Or seeing
Yep.
this person ain't make it, or this person just had this, or this person just got this limb cut off. Man, I got my 2 feet. You know what I'm saying? Would you have that same appreciation without knowing that other side of things? If everybody just around here in a happy state and just going on, what would everybody learn and how would the experience be, right? Because it'd just be a similar same thing, you know. So that's crazy. Some people
Yep.
believe that idea that you can find good in anything, and I challenge people to try to find good in things that they consider to be bad because sometimes,
Right.
you find lessons in the midst of that. Like I was just talking the other day to my brother. I'm
Yep.
like,
Silver
man,
lining.
I'll see. Yeah, I'm like, I was talking to my brother the other day, and I'm like, man, um, I'm sad that my first marriage failed, but um, I learned a lot in it, right? I grew in that
Right.
process. I wouldn't be the man that I am today,
Man.
or be the man that I am for my new wife if I didn't have that old experience, you know. And I got a wonderful text from the wife the other day just talking about how she just, appreciate our relationship and me and everything, which we send each other messages like that all the time. But back to what I was saying, I wouldn't be the man that I am if I didn't have those experiences. Like some of those so-called negative experiences causes you to grow, right? Some of those
Right.
tears cause you to be stronger. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I appreciate it. I
Yep.
was like, man, would I change anything? I'm like, and that's crazy. Like, what would you change in your life? I'm like, well, maybe I would, I don't know, make the process go faster. I don't know.
Man.
But then if it went faster, would it be the same thing? It's like a meal. Okay, well, we're gonna slow cook this brisket. But then you try to fast cook it. Okay, the meat ain't as tender. You know what I'm saying? It ain't the same if
Yep.
you just try to rush it. So everything takes this divine time and process. And from what
Divine
people say
time.
too, back to reincarnation, some people talk about we sign up for each particular life to come into a life, into a family, to have or learn particular lessons that we need to learn as a spirit, so to speak. We're gonna reincarnate into this physical life, into this particular family that we chose, so to speak, and sign up to have certain experiences happen in our life so that we can have those experiences and grow from them. You know what I mean? And take that information back to, the collective. And I heard that in a number of people's near-death experience stories too. Yep. Man, interesting. I know we can talk and take this topic to a lot of different ways, man. It's interesting because I can go into more detail into some of the hypnotic regressions that I did. Um, and some of those people experiences, man, it's crazy. I done took some people through their death experience in a past life, which is interesting. One of them I'll just mention before we get off. Um, it was a lady that I was working with, black lady, and regressed her back. I forgot what year it was, but she was a young white girl in Switzerland, and she was talking about how beautiful Switzerland was, the green and all of this. And then I was like, okay, go to your last day in that life or whatever. Tell me what's happening. And she's like, okay, I'm over here by the train tracks with these group of kids. Okay, tell me what else is going on. They trying to convince me to run through the tunnel to try to outrun the train, right? And what did the kid do? The kid tried to do it and passed away, right? Right? And then it's like, so with that story, would a person believe that that's just fake? She just came up with it. I might try to see if I can, get her on the show or something so she can talk about her experience. But the detail that she gave, and you'll see sometimes people tone of voice change, man. You and it just, I don't know. I believe it, man. It's just me. I believe,
Yeah, I feel you.
man.
I believe it too because it's like, especially people that have the outer body experiences and the near death experiences, like there's like they all can't be telling the same thing.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like that was that was one near death experience, and the guy was like, and I was floating in the air, and I was like, God. And it was just funny because it was like, like, okay, this aligns with what I've been taught. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like when I was coming out of Christianity, one thing I would say to God for the longest for like 3 years, I'm like, man, show me the truth, show me the truth, show me the truth. Because, you know, in Christianity, there are so many different denominations.
Hmm.
And if I did believe in the devil, I would say that came from the devil because like you divide and conquer.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's so many different. You got Mormons, you got Jehovah Witness, you got Catholics, you got Baptists, Southern Baptists, Missionary
Yeah.
Baptists, Pentecostal,
Uh-huh.
Church of Christ,
Yeah.
Church Christ, Church of God in Christ. You know what I mean?
Man,
Like,
so many. Yeah.
man, and here go the thing: all of them. All of them say our way is the way,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
other people are twisted.
Come on.
And it also goes to geographic location too, because the Baptist you got on the East Coast ain't the same Baptist you got on down south, and show ain't the
Oh
same
yeah.
Baptist you got up north or on West Coast.
They be saying Southern Baptist and all that type stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, who telling the truth and who lying?
That was my thing. I'm like, man, because I told people earlier, I'm like, one of my parents is Jehovah Witness, one of my parents is Southern Baptist, right? So which one of them is right? One of them believe a particular way, the other one believe they particular way. One of them celebrate holidays, one of them don't. One of them believe they, going to heaven, another one believe that they it's going to be a new earth, right? I have people heard people mentioning, a new earth and a lot of other spiritual spaces and people who've had, their
Yeah,
near-death experiences and everything. So man, who knows? But one thing that kind of is coming is like, love is gonna be the best thing for you to have, and you're gonna give you the
yeah.
best result. Yep. And I want to mention something too. What were you talking about earlier? It was something that you mentioned. Oh yeah. So all these denominations and everything, I guess a number of different denominations have their purpose because people grow at different rates. People talk different languages. People have
Okay.
their own personal language, so they might need this particular denomination to take them to this level, and then they might eyes might open a little bit more, and then okay, now I can see this other idea point of view. Okay, now I'm going to adopt that in my belief system and just keep on growing. As long as you're growing at the end of the day. But like we mentioned before, in order to grow, you have to be open to experience new perspectives and things because otherwise, if you just keep in the same perspective and you ain't adopting anything new, then that's not growth, right? If we was using the same tools we used way back in 1700s or whatever, then that ain't no growth. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah,
technology grows, we grow as people, what I'm saying? So the purpose of life is growing and learning, I would say. So I would say let's try not to be stagnant, man. Let's try to learn more things. Let's see what resonates with us individually. Because like in your particular case, you was man, you was a minister or what was it?
yeah, yeah. I was a
Okay.
preacher. Yeah,
Preacher. Okay, so you was a preacher in the Christian space, any
yeah.
particular denomination or
Missionary Baptist.
okay, mission. See, there go another missionary Baptist. So, but then, so you started off with there. That was part of your journey, right? So you learned a lot of
Yeah,
things from there that you
yeah.
still use to this day. Some things you ended up pulling in from other sources and new ideas, and some things that you felt like didn't align with your spirit, you let it go. Like, okay, that don't align with me anymore. You know what I mean? So it still served its purpose on your
Yeah,
journey, right? So
it
same way
did.
with me.
And I appreciate you. I appreciate you saying that because, like, I don't be wanting to feel like I'm condemning anybody or condemning anybody's belief systems or anything like that. I just know for me what works for me and what doesn't. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I feel like with everybody, you know what I mean. If Christianity serves you and it works for you,
See,
keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like keep doing your thing. You know what I mean? Like my brother, my mama, and them, I'm not gonna tell them not to, believe in Jesus. Like that ain't my place. Everybody's spiritual walkers, they walk. It's between them
yep. See,
and God, them and source. You know what I'm saying? So it's like with everybody else, let them do their thing.
come on, let them. You know what I mean? And I can think of the name of that lady that wrote that book. She got a book that seems like it's pretty dope. Mel Robbins, the let them theory. She just talk about, hey, this person doing this and gonna do that to you or whatever. This person like this and don't want to call you back let them. You know what I'm saying? That's them. Don't take it on as your personal, uh, a personal issue for you. You know what I'm saying? To invade or interrupt your space. This that person's frame of mind. This that person's doing. You know what I mean? You can't sit and control another individual. They gonna do what they gonna do. Let them do what they gonna do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a person shows you who
Right.
they are, believe them. That's them. Okay. I ain't gotta just adopt it and then take it personally on myself. Uh, that's you. Okay. You feel like you don't want to hang out with me no more. You don't. I call you on your birthday and you don't call me on mine. That's them. You know what I mean? Let them.
Yeah.
Right. So a person feels like they have a different idea, frame of mind than yours. Let them have that. I feel like that's a better space of love. A person who can actually uh not try to go to another individual and push their uh, ideas and stuff on them and force them on them. Let me say that. Now, I understand some people try to come and give you some game out of love, right? supposedly, give you some game out of love. Okay, man, I feel like, this might help you, help you in your spiritual journey. Don't get mad if they don't accept it because it's them
Yeah,
in their mind. They mind is not just
yeah,
like yours. Words mean different things to them than it means to you. They've had different experiences in life than yours. They got a different path and journey than yours. Allow them to have that. Allow them, excuse me, to have their individuality. And that's okay. Whether they believe in what you believe in or don't. Still approach that person with love, respect. Okay, okay. I can give you my point of view. Okay, if you feel like it's something there, take what you feel like is good for you, discard the rest. You know what I'm saying? But I love you. And speaking of that, we love y'all, man. We didn't talk the wow today. You know what I'm saying? Had a good talk. And I really enjoyed it, man. This type of stuff I like to talk about a lot in my normal personal time. And I guess that's why we doing it, because this is what me and SoundOff will be talking about just in personal conversation. And that was the
yeah.
purpose of this podcast, for us to have a so-called personal conversation, and then be able to share it with the public and grow through talking, grow through learning, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm still getting different point of views of what you might be offering to me, at different times, and it give me something to take notes on or to take in. So we hope y'all, grow in this process too, and there's some things that y'all can take in and might actually help y'all in y'all journey. So it's the one and only mental coach Kev here. We got Sound Dr. General. If you want to check out or find anything on Sound Dr. General, how can they find you again, bro?
Sound off the general, all social media platforms, Apple Music, YouTube, Spotify.
Yes, sir.
Um, yeah, I got a website, but I'm still getting it worked on. So
Okay.
yeah,
So any social media platforms, search Sound Dr. General, as you see spelled right here, without the spaces. And if you want to find anything on me, you can find me on all social media platforms for the most part, a lot of them, Mental Coach Kev, or you can go to mentalcoachkev.com. And if you want to book a session with me and experience a hypnotic regression or negative belief removal or enhancement in some skills or abilities in your mind, or, removing limitations or limiting beliefs or whatever, we can help you and assist you with that. So go to mentalcoachkev.com. Man, it's a free guided meditation on there, the one that I mentioned earlier in this episode that I ended up doing today in my meditation process. You can get that for free on there too. But yeah, y'all stay peaced. Y'all stay peaced. Y'all stay blessed. Peace to y'all, man.
peace.
Y'all stay blessed, man. Love on yourself. Realize what love is, find out what love is at its most unfiltered, grandest version of it. Start applying those attributes and things to yourself, and then share it with the world, right? We love y'all.